Hey everybody, The Real Deal here. We're back with Andrew for a follow-up interview. We were talking after the interview and we want to get some of this on camera. So until my phone runs out of juice, Andrew, you want to talk about, we were talking about super rares and ultra rares and...
Standing here, right here, it's Chris.
Hi!
Hello, sir.
From the Unofficial Titan Merchandise Society. Yeah, thanks for supporting us, everybody. We really do appreciate it. I actually do have my pin with me, which I've been wearing all week, but I'm only wearing a polo shirt today. It keeps on digging into my chest, so I have to take it off. But it's right here.
Awesome.
There we go. There we go.
Very
I should have thought of that.
I don't have mine with me. I should have
Just
brought
not
it.
smart enough to think of those things. So, something that Chris and Robert and I were talking about were, are we going to do any more super rares and ultra rares? So real quick, the story behind the fact that we did those, that's a failed experiment. A glorious, beautiful failed experiment. A lot of our retail partners really like the ideas of us doing very, very rare pieces. So we put them together, and in fact our most dedicated collectors, their response to super rare pieces they found very difficult to obtain was a resounding "fuck you, Titan." and to say people were unhappy about it would be an understatement. Yeah. So after we did this really great thing that cost us shitloads of money to do, it was very expensive because if you put all of that resource into a piece that you only produce a handful of, it makes them very, very expensive. You don't amortise it over a whole run. And despite all the care we put into it and the thought we put into doing it, people just didn't like it. And so Bus and I sat there and thought, you know what, we're spending all this money to try and make people happy, and it's having the opposite effect. Yeah. So that's why we pulled up the brakes on that, and we won't be doing them anymore. And
as a fan, I could say thank you for not doing any more of those.
So, I mean, you've got to be responsive. The reason we do this is because we love what we do, and what's great about the fan base that we've got is, you know, they love what we do as well, and that's the only reason to do all of this. You know, yeah, we're a company and we've got to make money, but we're not driven. Personally, we're not driven by the cash at all. We're driven by the cash. Is making money out of what we do is a necessary evil, so that the company actually continues and we do more great stuff. But the reason we do it is because we love it. You know, it's not because we want to turn a. We don't want. It's not about the bottom line. It's never been about the bottom line for us. It's a creative endeavour. And so that leads me to another thought, which is something I was talking indirectly to Dave about a while ago. Was the whole concept of people spending a lot of money to find like rare items on the secondary market. And while as a guy who owns 30,000 comic books, I really absolutely respect that. I would just counsel caution when you get into the point where you're spending hundreds of bucks on a plastic collectible. I think that's essentially against the spirit of it, you know. And you know, I'd be really cautious about, you know, people on the secondary market on eBay or whatnot that sell some of our rare pieces for, you know, into triple digits. They're really not worth that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't buy them for that much. And I make them. You know what I mean? It's good that you can enjoy them like that. I mean, I've got very rare comic books that I've spent a lot of money on, so do get it. But I just urge caution. And something that's come up with the Tuttons guys, particularly now, every now and again, is, well, what if we just put together a bespoke piece just for our fans alone? The thing is, the sculpting work on what we do is so expensive that if we produce just a small run item for the fan base, we'd be asking you guys to part with a lot of cash to buy those. And even if you ended up crowdfunding it some way, you'd probably be spending money that you could use to go on a holiday. You know, and frankly, as a human being, I'd rather that you guys went out, enjoyed your collections, but then also enjoyed your lives. Went to the cinema, went to the theatre, went out with your loved ones, went for a meal, went for a pint, went on a fucking glorious holiday, rather than spend $1,000 on a plastic collectible. Spend $1,000 and go to Hawaii. You know what I mean?
My wife will certainly appreciate that sentiment.
So I think, like as with everything, you've got to look at balance here. Do you know what I mean? Please don't think this is me being anti-collector. I'm not. I'm a mega collector myself, and I totally understand the instinct. What this is a plea for is, you know, enjoy your lives in a fully rounded way. You know what I mean? Collecting titles is an amazing thing to do. Collecting whatever you collect is an amazing thing to do. But you know, bespoke items for thousands of bucks, I don't think that's worth doing. I think you should use that money to enjoy yourself.
So that means when the super rare Sarah Jane figure shows up on eBay, no one bid on it,
yeah, that's
so
right.
I can get
it. Exactly.
Yes.
Just make sure that you alert Robert Burt at The Real Deal
yes.
and let him buy it.
Yes, please.
For $5.
That's what Andrew was saying
exactly,
in a nutshell.
right on.
So,
exactly.
thank you, man. Anything else you wanted to cover? Well, I still have Juice on the phone here.
Just really repeating what I said, what I started out with, which we really do appreciate the support of everybody who buys and collects and appreciates what we do. It means a massive amount to us because myself and what we call the away team here, the guys who come over and do San Diego, New York Comic Con, you know, nearly everybody on our booth is English, and we all travel over here from the UK. We really appreciate the love and support we get from everybody, and you know that sort of validation and appreciation is why we do this stuff. Yeah, I think if we were just sitting in a confined room and we didn't know that people like what we do, it's just not the same. So you know, we really do appreciate everybody's support, and we put a massive amount of effort into getting these things right. And the nature of the licensed products business is you can't always tell people what you're working on 6 months out, you know, and sometimes when things go quiet, it's not because things aren't happening. We've got a lot of stuff that's going to debut next year. I just can't talk about any of it at the moment. As soon as I can, I will. And that's why the drip feed of information sometimes appears to be very eccentric. It's because we're not controlling it. It's because there's a lot of other random factors in when we can talk about what we can talk about and who we can also include in a wave. Just to repeat what I was saying before, you know, we get a lot of questions, particularly from a hardcore fan base, of, hang on, you did this set, but you didn't include this character, why not? Well, we wanted to. There's just a bunch of reasons. If obvious characters aren't included, there are very good reasons why. They have nothing to do with me and my crew, and we can't talk about them. But
Fair enough.
We do really appreciate all the questions we get and all the thought and love people give to collecting our stuff, whether it's our Titans or whether it's our books or whether it's our comics. We massively appreciate it. It's a privilege to do this job, and it's a privilege to meet everybody here in the States when I come over, and in the UK and wherever we go. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
And you know, I return that sentiment. I thank you guys for being supportive of my channel and for being so accessible. I really appreciate that you do this every year. You guys, I know Ray always responds to the
Ray's
Facebook
a good
group,
lad.
the Tunnel's Facebook group,
Ray's great.
So yeah, I really appreciate how accessible you guys are and that you listen to the fans and that it really feels like a fan-focused company, which I appreciate. I really like that.
Actually, if you interact with Ray, what you can tell about Ray is, you know, he loves interacting. I mean, he has a lot of correspondence with Dave actually. And he loves interacting with people. You know, he lives to answer those. So you know, keep Ray busy and send him emails.
I posted to the group, hey, does anybody have any questions they want me to ask Andrew? And he answered them all.
Oh, brilliant.
So
okay.
if there's other questions you want, go to the Facebook group and you'll get your answers there.
Ray often sits asking me a ton of questions, which I'm always, well, it's this. So whenever I speak to him, it's usually a massive download. Yeah. So now ask him. He knows my answers better than I do.
Nice. So, well, Andrew, thank you again, sir. I really appreciate it. If we're talking off camera about something else, I'll turn the camera back on. But thanks a lot. And Chris, nice to meet you, sir. Thank you for making a cameo appearance here.
Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks a lot, Andrew. Appreciate everything, man. Thank you.
Enjoy the show if you're here.
Thanks.
Have a great time.
You too. Thanks a lot.